The following video contains scenes depicting gore, violence, and murders. Viewer discretion is advised. Have you ever had a dream and you thought, this must be real, it has to be? Well, maybe it was. So get out your nightlights and check under your bed because this is Movie Theory. With the awesome and not so awesome horror movies that always come around this time of year, let's look at one of the scariest in my opinion. Freddy Krueger preys on children via their nightmares. He's had many appearances in older movies, spin-offs, and even a remake. So, could the events that take place on Elm Street really take place in our world? The simple answer is yes. But hey, we don't do anything simple around here. To better understand the science of Freddy, let's look at nightmares. Nightmares, or dreams in general, is caused by rapid eye movement, or REM, sleep stage. This typically occurs during the last third of your night. So while nightmares are still being studied, not all that much is known about them. One of the biggest theories is that spicy food could lead to terrible nightmares, as well as lying on your stomach. But those are all just theories. In addition to just why you have nightmares, the main thing here is that the content of said dream is due to your subconscious desires and fears. So for example, let's say you always have dreams of you running into a burning building to save someone. Maybe you have a subconscious desire to be a fireman. But that's just an example. Okay, so now that we established that you do have nightmares, what could cause them, and how could they be like anything depicted in the film? In this movie, we have multiple plot lines, one bad guy, different people, and one dream that kind of connects them to each other. Well, to answer that, we have to have an understanding of what reality is, and this is different things to different people. However, reality is due to how we perceive it, whether that be with religion or science, especially during dreams. So, to our brains, at least during a nightmare, it perceives it as real. Most of the time, there is lucid dreaming, but we're not really talking about that right now. The idea is exactly how we perceive the world is our reality. This is called solipsism, and I probably just butchered that word, but bear with me here. So if we use this theory and we believe it to be true, then there's no stopping from pain, suffering, mental illness, dementia, even insomnia, or even physical events to our body to affect us during a nightmare. And that's one of the key ingredients here in actually seeing if this is plausible. And while there's different theories in what reality actually is, we're going to believe that the previous is true for the sake of this video. So now that we have that under control, let's move forward. There's a story of this circulating around the internet about an individual experiencing the personality in his dream while sleepwalking. So, in his dream, an intruder entered his home, stabbed him in his leg, and then left. And when the young man woke up, he found that he has in fact been stabbed, but by his own self. This is a form of dementia. Due to it being so rare and hardly even being studied, there is no official name for it other than just a form of dementia. Now, you see, for most people, the brain can decipher which is dream and which is the real world while you're being awake and conscious. But in the case of the story mentioned, he didn't have the capacity to do so, and this is how it could happen. Okay, so now we have why we dream, how the dreams could harm us, and how it could be quote-unquote reality. There's only one problem. All of the individuals in this film had the same dream, or at least the same type of dream with the same villain. How could this be if dreams are only our reality that's inside of our brain? Well, there's a theory called dream telepathy which has been well documented in history. It was first looked at closely by Sigmund Freud in 1921. He produced a model that could make people share dreams with someone else, but more importantly, main ideas. And the way that he was able to reproduce this is not sharing one dream, but sharing a central idea or plot line. So for example, let's say it is an intruder entering your home and stabbing you in the leg. He would be able to transfer that from one individual to another, of course, which each individual they'll be able to make their own reality and make the dreams kind of unique to themselves. This translates well into the film because a majority of the individuals die from means that they would have died from, and it makes sense that they would be dreaming about it. One of the ones that really stand out to me is there is a girl who really likes food, and Freddy kind of kills her by stuffing her with food. And as barbaric as that may sound, it's a lot more plausible than all of them dying in the exact same means and method, because the dreams would be sharing an essential idea, not details. So, in theory, in this case, a super scary bad guy would be plausible if they would have seen something that reminded all of them of this in the past. The only thing that might be a little bit different than the film is that each person's interpretation of Freddy would be a little bit different based on their history of life. Okay, so now that we have all of the evidence supporting that this could happen, let's show exactly how it could play out. So you have all of these friends, and they witness someone getting murdered. Maybe they see a video online, on the news, or maybe in real life. Them being afraid of that, they put themselves as the victim, and they go home and dream up these dreams of people trying to attack them. However, the only way that this would work is if one child would be able to project an image of what they believe the murderer would look like, and using dream telepathy, share that with their friends. And because they all had this shared experience, it would make sense that they would create some sort of monster. If that's the case, then one of them, who would have to have had dementia, would take the personality of the murderer himself, and then, using dream telepathy again, would have to visit the other kids in their dreams while sleepwalking and murder them in the way that they dream using dream telepathy. Or, and this is a lot more likely, all of the children have some sort of dementia and they all hurt themselves in ways that would make sense. And if you watch the film, this makes a lot more sense, you know, in that way, instead of one guy doing it. A lot of the times, a lot of the individuals got killed alone, so it would make a lot more sense. So, while it's unlikely and probably never going to happen, it would take a lot of variables to be just right at the exact moment, in the exact point of time, in the person's life, at the same age, and it would all have to be perfect. But the scary thing is that this could happen. That the monster cannot be killed. It's not like Godzilla where you can just shoot a bunch of rockets at it and call it a day. It's in your mind and in your subconscious. Now that is truly scary. And that leads me to believe that everybody has some sort of monster locked in their head. And when you're sleeping, it's only a matter of time before he shows up. So in our minds, we all have some sort of Freddy. So the next time you're going to sleep, remember,
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
But hey, that's just a theory.